Cotter laid out in great detail exactly how he would put the loop road. He even had a music band station right there that he was including. People voted partially for our mayor, Bob Turner, and for council because you guys were for marshalling on Government Road. When we were, Bob and David, you and I, when we were on the Sustainable Community Advisory Committee, we always supported the Government Road option. I voted for you guys partially because I believe that's what you were going to do, and I believe that our report was giving you the tools to accomplish that. You have to admit that even the plan that you propose does destroy some of the amenity of the park on the north side, the existing, because a meandering, offloading loop road is going to ruin a lot of the natural amenity there of that park. And it will unnecessarily, in my view, endanger the heron colony. It's just not necessary for us to put a road directly underneath it, even if we do put a protective fence around it. So unfortunately, I'm concerned that an exemplary plan like this, including a loop road, is going to be like the just over the horizon vision that we're all sort of planning to implement and turn out in the transportation aspect to be the excuse that we don't do anything. And you know, we can wait around whereas there's no reason to wait. You've been shown that you can make all the plans and requirements within the existing right-of-way to achieve the transportation goals that the community aspires to. Thank you.
I didn't hear a question, so...
Well, I don't know. My question would be, don't you think that's true?
No, I don't. I did read your report, and I think it was a very good one, and I think it had some very good principles in it. I'll just remind everybody that the specific mandate we were given by planning was to refer to the acoustics plan as the example, so that's kind of where we started. Having said that, I think there are some good points in what you've said, and I'd be glad to, at some future point, sit down and walk you through some of the nuances. I may not convince you, but we've balanced a lot of conditions here, including others that weren't considered in just a transportation study, about how to make a great street, how to make a street that can come and go, in a sense, with the ferry traffic of the future. So there's some other variables in there.
Hi, Alan. First of all, thank you for your effort on this. I think it's an amazing plan, and it's, for me personally, exceeded all my expectations on the overall team, how far you've gone, all your background information, community input. I think there's just all sorts of amazing things here. And I also think it's a plan that can move forward at various stages. And if we get hung up on ferry marshalling, other things can still move forward. So I think it's a great blueprint for the future. With that said, I think we can still strive for something even better within the code and think about creative solutions for ferry marshalling. Think about the concept of Government Road not being just a linear space, really dominated in my mind still by cars, because now we're marshalling ferry traffic right in the village, which I think is very counterintuitive to what one would want in a pedestrian style village, and also what one would want to live in if you're in one of these buildings on Government Road and you're going to live in a car-free environment. You're going to commute to Vancouver by bicycle or public transit, yet you're looking out your window at BC Ferries guys, the commuters waiting to get on the ferry. So I think we still, and I think you've left the plan open, at least in my interpretation of the report, to further study ferry marshalling in this. And I think one thing the community would like to see is still some options on that, and maybe some clearer options. And in fact, the way we marshal now really isn't that bad in my mind. Maybe other people think there's public safety issues with it. But you know, the merchants in the upper village certainly take advantage of the commuters in the morning, and there's still a bit of commuter traffic down in the lower village. So I think that's something that, as a community, we should wrestle with some more and think about some more. And the second point, strictly speaking in the code, is the notion of public spaces for people. And when you're designing for people, typically the buildings frame spaces where people want to be. And the activities in the buildings are really critical, and you certainly alluded to it in your slides of agriculture and food. If you want park space and urban space to be habited by people, you really need restaurants there. You need merchants that are offering a place for people to sit and watch. And you need eddies off of the traffic and not on the traffic. So I would encourage you, if we do develop on two sides of Government Road, to think about how we can create some eddies as we move up the street, so it's just not this one long, typical main street that you see anywhere in USA, anywhere in Canada, but it's something that's really a Bowen solution and really unique to Bowen, because we already have that solution around the marina, around the Cove. We do have these amazing eddies. And thank you for your presentation where you showed a lot of those spaces and said that's what's really unique about Bowen. So I think the plan can still move forward to create some of those. Like Cenotaph Square, I think, is a great concept, but there's no buildings around it, there's no restaurants around it, there's cars driving through it in two directions. So it's a great space, an ephemeral space that we can, habitate at one or two special occasions of the year, but it's not really sort of a living room for the community, if you will. And I think some of those spaces could be integrated in somewhere up and down the corridor. And then on Government Road, you have another solution. So the second real urban space we have is really an intersection of traffic. And your rendering's great. It doesn't show any cars in there, but in reality, there is, we're still kind of hillbillies on Bowen Island. A lot of people still drive pickup trucks, and we're going to be racing through that intersection, and we're not, urbanites like you are if you're living down in Granville Island. So think about that as well. Maybe there's an eddy off of that intersection where we could have a square with some restaurants, some entertainment venues that would really become a focal point for the community, but it's not right on the roadway, it's off of the roadway. And my final point, if we were really to think about Government Road and traffic, I think having a traffic circle between Miller Road and Government Road would be a great benefit, and that's something we can do today. I think the intersection's extremely dangerous right now, partially because the ferry marshaling, so you can't see that traffic coming down the hill. And with the traffic circle, it's impossible to have a head-on collision. You've got that landscape median in the way. You can have lots of fender benders, particularly for people who don't understand how to drive through them. It takes a couple weeks to learn that, but you can't kill each other. And right now we've got a very dangerous intersection, and I think we can do something about that immediately. And so I wonder about the loop road and how, like on the slide here, how it bypasses. It really is a bypass situation. And you're creating, it looks great in the plan, but you're creating a very convoluted traffic pattern there. So I think it just needs a little bit more study. But again, thank you. I think that the effort was tremendous for the group.
Thanks, James. I will quickly respond to those 3 points. The second point about eddies, 2 quick things. I think if you look at the plan, those clearly exist. The spaces between buildings exists in every single condition as per what I set up in the slide. I think there are opportunities for eddies when those buildings get designed.
What do you mean by an eddy?
A backflow in the river water.
Yeah, I understand
Metaphor.
that. Just people with cars.
He's referring to people. Yeah. But the point is that in detailed design, I absolutely agree, and perhaps you'll design some of those buildings that can fulfill that. From a planning point of view, I think that opportunity totally exists, and I would totally agree with you on that. Your related point about the civic square here, yeah, this is a radical idea. We've done this in a number of places and in communities of this size as well, where there are truck driving hillbillies, absolutely, and I agree with that. But that's why the road, the bypass road that sneaks by the back of this, is so integral to most of the things you talked about. The Four Corners intersection is freed of that sort of advancing traffic because it's not there anymore. So it's a completely different landscape for pedestrians. You've got stationary traffic waiting to go on the ferry and one lane of traffic going down to drop off people. Granted, it's still traffic, absolutely. The other thing about that civic square is that, maybe I didn't articulate that enough, it has the ability to kind of close itself up and become a no-car space at certain times if we choose to do it. And that's the great thing about public space and trying to take advantage of roadways and make them habitable by people. That space can do that. And it can only do that if it has roads on either side that can take that traffic when we want to do that. And your point about ferry marshaling, again, I think it's a debate that will go on, and I do reiterate some of the comments tonight, though, that we can debate this endlessly. The thing about this plan is that it does solve a lot of